Jason. Thank you. So, got some bad news for California today. So, in a blow to the growing number of supporters behind the interstate commerce movement, as possibly bailing out small batch farmers, Marijuana Moments' Kyle Yeager reported yesterday. Rob Bonta, California's Attorney General, said that the state would be putting itself and its employees at a significant legal risk of federal enforcement action if interstate commerce were authorized. After more than a year of review, Bonta's office finally sent a legal opinion to the state regulators Tuesday, basically saying, "Not on my watch." In it, the AG said his office understands that there are complex legal considerations and strong arguments state officials could make to contest liability if they were federally prosecuted, but that he cannot disregard the potential for legal risk. The opinion comes in response to a request earlier this year that was following Gavin Newsom's signed bill into law late last year, all but clearing the path forward for interstate commerce. The California DCC requested an assessment from Bonta on the potential liability of permitting interstate commerce. Yeager says that while DCC argued that the state would not find itself at substantial legal risk for allowing the activity, Bonta's opinion says it cannot rule out the possibility given the threat of federal preemption under the Controlled Substances Act that strictly prohibits cannabis. Newsom's law empowered the governor to authorize entrance into interstate commerce agreements with other legal states if federal law or guidance changed, or if the state attorney general ruled out the possibility of quote unquote significant legal risk. Bonta's opinion acknowledges differing legal interpretations as it concerns federal preemption in the cannabis context, in addition to the lack of court precedent regarding interstate commerce and cannabis. In his letter, Bonta said that the law is also unsettled as to whether state officials could be federally prosecuted for implementing state law in this area. In response to Bonta's letter, DCC spokesperson told Marijuana Moment that they appreciated the HG's conclusion that the arguments supporting interstate agreements are strong. Unfortunately, even strong arguments cannot put novel questions beyond all debate. If you are looking for certainty, you will not find it in cannabis. But if you're looking for leadership, you will continue to find it here. California has long been at the forefront to efforts to legalize and regulate cannabis, even in the face of legal political uncertainty, the department added. And although California's cannabis industry has long been at the heart of an unregulated interstate market, we will continue under Governor Newsom's leadership to search for ways to bring that market into a regulated framework that protects the public. Subliminal shots at Rob Bonta right there, right, Jason?
Hey.
We all know that the trap don't follow no laws anyways. So that lane will continue to do what that lane do for the trap. But it looks like, at least for now, California will not openly be engaging in any type of legal or legally sanctioned interstate commerce. I know we've had several folks on our show on both sides of the argument as to whether interstate commerce should move forward or not, and what would that mean for the Golden State struggling cannabis economy as a whole. My question to everyone here is, will this be the last we hear of this for a while in California, or is interstate commerce for cannabis destined to become California's very own zombie political football, as we've seen safe banking become on a federal level? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. Let's talk about it.
I mean, Rico, if I remember correctly, when this story first came out, Rob Bonta was saying how they could get involved in interstate trade and that they wanted to rely on an opinion from the DOJ before they move forward with anything. And I am still baffled the fact that they would even have the inclination to think that they could do this. Is just crazy to me with an interstate trade compact, because interstate trade compacts have to be voted on and approved by Congress before they can actually go into effect.
I mean, they're selling weed illegally.
I mean, I'm about to say, like, they're already undermining Congress and federal government. They're selling weed. So
But the thing that protects everyone is Rohrabacher Farr, which is Blumenauer McClintock now, and that strictly prohibits them from extrapolating federal funds to go after state licensed cannabis businesses. However, once a product crosses a state line, that rider is out the window, and the federal government can extrapolate funds to go after that once it crosses a state line. So
I mean, I see both sides of the argument. I see people saying that, why don't we continue to push the envelope? And why, California.
Sure. I mean, California, any company can go ahead and push the envelope. But the reality of it is that California is not going to be your defense mechanism or put up any legal money for your defense when you get caught up and wrapped up in a case. And you'll probably lose your cannabis businesses in relation to.
I mean, it's been like that. It's kind of been like that since the jump, And even though, when Obama was like, oh, we're not going to be putting more federal dollars into enforcement and shit, it was still being done and people still continued to do it. So, I mean, it's a game of chicken right now. And I think Rob Bonta he don't want that heat. He's like, nope.
I'm just,
while I'm here.
I'm surprised that none of you guys are even acknowledging his pivot.
Yeah, his pivot game is strong.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Well, but if you've ever been inside the California Department of Justice, it is full of drug war hawks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure people were up his ass and in his ear about not doing this. And I mean, you can file on behalf of a state a declaratory relief action in federal court asking them to rule on this. Would this be? And I think, Rico, I think Congress is where you need to start to approve these pacts.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be California that first does it. Maybe it's Oklahoma or Washington.
None of these interstate trade compacts would get passed by Congress. You do not have the votes. You're not going to get 218 votes for interstate trade compact if you're not even allowing for cannabis to be descheduled through Congress. You're never going to get to 218 on this. That's ridiculous.
It has to be led by
Republicans. Well, I get it, but you can still go ask the courts to help you. I mean, if you're really timid.
Yeah, you could ask the courts to help. I agree with that, but you're not going to get the votes.
Threatening a political elected political officer, that goes back to Eric Holder threatening up in the Triangle. If you put a tag on one of these plants, we're going to go prosecute you. And what Prop 19 died right there.
Well, I mean,
they grow big balls, and then all of a sudden they get sucked up in their abdomen. You wonder, okay, well, what happened here?
Way before even Prop 19, Dale, we had Prop S in San Francisco, and we actually had DEA agents show up to public testimony in San Francisco City Hall, stating that if this was enacted, that they would come in and they would seize the property from San Francisco. And Prop S, just so everyone understands, was a petition that we kind of put out there to feel the temperance of the voters at that time, to say, should the city and county of San Francisco explore cultivating marijuana grows for medical cannabis on city-owned property?
Mm-hmm.
And that passed, and that passed unanimously. But when it came for the public hearing on it, the DEA showed up and said, "If you guys enact this, we're coming in."
Well, and yesterday's story about the prosecutors, if you don't understand that they represent what prosecutors feel about cannabis and marijuana across the country, if they get a green light in any way, they'd love to go after people.
Exactly.
Just right now have their hands full.
Exactly. The bigger the bust, the bigger the boost. They're going to have lots of boosts if they were to allow this.
I think that if they're gonna push this or try to get away with it,
they're not.
Right now is the best time.
I
think that if they're gonna try, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you perfect. Yeah.
I think that if they're gonna try to get away with this, right now is the best time. Right now, where it's total chaos everywhere that you look, economy, the border. I mean, the country, how people deal with each other. If you're trying to get away with anything, right now is the time to do it.
I feel you. You got all the prosecutors not prosecuting crime everywhere and everything, and so it is.
Yeah, right now
you have a lot of issues that right now that need to be fleshed out. You have two extremely unpopular presidential candidates.
Mm-hmm. Really, one's popular, one's unpopular.
Yeah, one's extremely popular, one is unpopular.
You guys do anything except for
Wait, come on, Rico, I love you, brother. I'm
online
glad
chat boards. If you guys are reading anything other than that, you'll see both candidates are absolutely unpopular, but cannabis is a very popular topic, and this is something that you can actually get real ideas from people, and I think it could actually grasp the attention of, quote unquote centrist voters or swing voters. I think it's something that definitely should be fleshed out, and it should be amplified.
What do you think about this, Rochelle?
Good point, Tony.
I mean, if scheduling happens, right, then essentially that could open the floodgates for interstate commerce, correct? And it's something that I'm definitely.
No, it does not. No, it does not. That's a myth. It does not. Because it's still on the schedule, bro. It's still on the schedule. It does not open up for interstate trade. Schedule 3 does not open up for interstate trade. That's a myth.
It doesn't open up. It just gives it pharmaceutical control. It allows the pharmaceutical companies basically to have control.
Yeah, it would not open up interstate trade moving into Schedule 3.
So if pharmaceutical companies can be in control of it, and you have some kind of federal mechanism that is overseeing that, that means it technically can legally be commoditized, right?
That means that the same people who told you to take the same people who told you to take all the pills that was bad for you and turn around and said it was bad for you will have control over shipping and the basic production of cannabis. So if you put it in the hands of you're gonna legalize control for
no. You guys are missing what would happen
there, because you would have some kind of central.
You would have you would not have interstate trade. You would not have interstate trade. No, you guys are dreaming.
What do you think about this, Dale?
Well, if they were to do that, you would have to have a federal license to produce it, distribute it, and sell it. And then the federal government would have control over how that's produced and moved around the country. And I think, most of us would watch people with licenses today just go off the cliff. The government's not going to give you a license like these states have been doing to equity people or anybody like that. You're not going to get it. You got any record, don't even apply.
Exactly. I'm with you, Dale. You're right, and people are just going to get screwed. But nonetheless, we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
And the trap is going to win.
That's right.
Trap go interstate all day.
Trap is going to interstate. Yes.